Hello, friends, and greetings for the day. Welcome back to another live session of our channel where we look forward to answer all of your questions. And we are again back here on a Saturday evening to answer your questions once again. So, welcome aboard, welcome everyone, and greetings for the day. We are here in our again one of the live sessions to answer your queries, where we certainly look forward to your quick queries and concerns, clarifications, which you may have related to your knowledge about ISTQB certifications, testing, test tools, and many other concepts. So feel free to drop me your question on the chat box, and I will be more than happy to respond to your queries. And it will be a great pleasure helping everyone, all of you, to be a part of this particular session. So thank you so much for joining in, and we will be looking forward to answer your questions as usual. So we do have Okay, we have very first question coming in, or it's not a question. Basically, it's just like somebody was waiting for telling me before she could go back to sleep. So Sarah Firdausi says, "Good night, Neeraj. Just have passed my CTFL. Thanks to you." So pleasure, Sarah. Thanks for waiting here and letting us know about your results. It's really a great pleasure to know that you succeeded with your examination. So congratulations, and I wish you all the very best to continue with your future ahead. So let me know if I can help you in future as well. And that's an amazing beginning of the day today. I think the very first message which is coming in about a good result. So it's really, really interesting to see that. And there's another Federico. It says, "Hello, everyone." Hello, Federico. Zaid also says, "Finally, thank you for assisting me. Alhamdulillah. I have cleared CTFL. Your videos, tricks for BBAP, etc. helped me a lot." So Jayad, I do remember you from a lot of my live sessions where you have been asking several questions to me. And I think it is finally going to give me a great pleasure that you have succeeded. Alhamdulillah. So congratulations. And it's a really great pleasure for me to know about your result. And I wish you all the very best for all your future endeavors. Do stay connected if you need any further help in future. And this channel is going to add a lot of value to your understanding, not only from the certification point of view. Don't forget, all the tutorials will still give you the knowledge what you need in order to pursue your career as a part of testing. So congratulations once again and all the very best. So a great beginning. I think this is amazing. And we really look forward to such comments and responses coming up every time we connect on the live session. So I always try to wish all the people who will reach out to me, dropping a message on LinkedIn or probably on the comment box. I certainly look forward to them and congratulate everyone. In fact, try answering a lot of questions around the week. But still, there are a few things which we cannot address during the chat box and the other things like comment box and all. So we try to answer those as a part of this live session within this particular hour. So that's a really good thing where people are getting their necessary assistance, and of course that adds a lot of value to their preparation and get clarifications at any point of time. Priya Shukla says, "Hello, hi Priya, welcome." Zad says, "Sir, now targeting Agile Tester Foundation level, any advice?" As usual, when somebody starts a course, I don't have any advice. Go ahead, concentrate on the content, go through the tutorials, try to understand the concepts, and then come back to me if you have any queries. Okay? So generally, to start a course, you don't need any orientation. You just follow the sequence. Just think that you don't know anything about it and get started. That will really add a lot of value. Okay? So you come back to me when you have questions so that I can assist you appropriately. Right now, you don't need anything to get started with the course. Okay? So all the very best for Agile Tester Extension. And feel free to let me know if you have got anything. Sarah also says, after CTFL, can you tell us how to choose what to take next? Can you elaborate, Raj? And also the learning time estimation. Okay, Sarah, first of all, you have multiple windows open for you. If you can quickly parallelly open istqb.org, okay, on your screen in a different tab, you would find a tree there on the home page itself, which says that after foundation, you have multiple options. One is the path of Agile. Second is the role specific, which is more of like test analyst or test manager. And on the third side, you have specialist certification. Now, Sarah has a choice to decide on that, should I go for Agile, should I go for test analyst, or should I go for any specific specialization? So now Sarah has to analyze her portfolio in order to understand that what the demands are right now, which industry I'm working in, what's my experience in testing right now. So let me add more to that to answer that question to help you to pick up the next certification. Assume that you are somewhere in the 2 years of experience or 3 years of experience. I would recommend you either going for agile or going for specialization. Again, as there are two choices, you have to see if you're in a software industry, go for agile. If you are in a product based industry, for example, like mobile based testing, or you are more of the specialized tester, like talking about the performance testing or mobile application testing, usability testing, performance testing, you can target them. Okay, but agile will be something common. If you are in a software industry, you can target that as a next, and then you can also alternatively look for anything as specialized tester if in case you are currently into it. Not right now into any specialization, just ignore that. Okay. The second thing comes is the core certification, which is the test analyst, right? Again, it requires at least 3 to 4 or 5 years of experience to approach the test analyst certification. Because being of kind of 2 years or 3 years of experience, you really don't need the skill set of test analyst, or some of the concepts which would not be specific for you. So even if you get certified, it will not be adding any value to your portfolio. The reason is, to be a test analyst, you need at least like 4 to 5 years of experience to get that position in the industry. So just telling you something more from the real point of view. A test analyst is someone who has at least 4 to 5 years of experience, at least. Okay, at most it can be 10 years also. So you don't really have to target the test analyst certification at this point of time. So you have only two options. Either you go for specialization if you are into specialization. If you don't have any specialization in the testing, then you go for agile. So I think the details are clear to you, and I hope you can make a wise decision now for your next certification. Yes, there are choices: agile, mobile, and test analyst. Correct. So just go for based on the justification I provided you. You can now decide which would be the best option for you. Okay. All right. Priya also says, I'm planning for mock test. Can you help from where I can go for mock test? You have 3 mock papers available on ISTQB official website. So I would recommend you strongly to go only with that and nothing other than that, because other options are not so reliable. You may lose your confidence, which you would have earned through the tutorials and getting your doubts clarified with me here. But going through the different portals will not have the right answers, probably wrong answers as well. And that can just confuse you that, am I really sure with the content? Do I really know everything? So I strongly do not recommend anything other than the 3 official sample papers. Other than that, you can just ignore. But if you are good at 3 papers, you know how exactly the questions will be. And they're official papers, right? So you cannot just say, okay, I still need more practice. If you're able to understand the pattern from there, it's just all done. Okay. And there are no dumps for ISTQB, for your kind information. Okay. And for everyone else, not only for Priya, that there are no dumps. Dumps means that the questions will come within that. Okay. I give you 500 dumps and you just prepare that, you get the answers or all the questions within that. No, ISTQB does not have a dump. It's just that there are some dummy questions created by people like you and me, and they sometimes go wrong because people who have created that are non-technical. They have nothing to do with your future. They have nothing to do with ISTQB. I'm not sure if they have even written the ISTQB examination, because when I look at those questions, I sometimes laugh. That's the reason I finally, based on everyone's request, I started working on it, and I'm busy creating a lot of mock papers, which will be live soon and should be helpful for everyone. Okay, so Zad also adds, sir, in attempting Agile tester, do questions will also come from CDFL or only from Agile? No, all ISTQB certifications are specific to their syllabus. They do not ask any questions from the other certifications, be it like something which you have already completed. Okay, but the knowledge would be required to understand the next certification. But they will not ask any questions from the previous examination. So you can concentrate only on the Agile part, only on the Agile syllabus. Okay, so yeah, that's one thing to add. Priya says okay. Sarah says thanks. You're welcome. Go ahead. Go ahead with your job, Sarah. That should be best option for you right now. As you gain experience, right? You gain experience and become from 4 to 5 years of experience, then you can talk about test analyst because probably, you will follow the content. I'm not saying that you will not be able to pass the exam. You can pass the exam if you are very good at reading and understanding the concepts. It's not difficult if you are extraordinary. But the point is, that does not add a value to your portfolio. That's the problem. Okay. So yeah, that's one thing which I wanted to, highlight. Anyways, wise decision, go with that. Priya says, I have a doubt in priorities and dependencies as per technical and logic of fifth chapter. Okay, so when it comes to the prioritization, if you recall your chapter 1, okay, test process, we have a phase called as test implementation. And the very first activity is prioritizing the test cases. Now, prioritization is again an, an art, a knowledge of the test analyst, which is required to prioritize the test cases, which do consider many factors into account. It could be the schedule, it could be the project plan, it could be the risk factors, it could be like, the dependencies from the project perspective. Now, considering all these factors, you prioritize your test. Okay, which test will be executed first? So for example, I've got 10 test cases with me, right? And in that, 2 test cases are associated with a requirement which is having a high severity risk. The requirement has a high severity risk, so these test cases will be highly prioritized, okay, on the top. Now, no matter what these test cases are testing, but they are prioritized because they belong to a requirement which is having a high severe risk. Second, now once prioritization is done, within the test cases, I have certain thing called as technical dependency and logical dependency. Now, what is technical dependency? Technical dependency says that I cannot test login without sign up, right? Does not make any sense. Until unless a user is registered, then only he can try logging into the application. That's the real-time behavior. So if within those high priority test cases, if there are any tests which are having that technical dependency, we will notify that. That test 2 is technically dependent on test 1. So test 1 is something which should be executed first. And if you observe, generally we use these dependencies to highlight the dependencies between the similar priority issues, okay, or showcase. No matter, it could be a low test for a different requirement, but technically it is from sign up. So sign up means creating an account. Until unless you create an account, you cannot log in. How can you even try that? So technically your login test cases, though it is high priority or low priority, it could be only about login, but it is dependent on sign up test cases. Until unless sign up is executed, validated, I cannot run login. Coming to the logical dependency, the logical dependency stands for the sequence or the real-time order. For example, a valid test should be executed before invalid test cases. Why? Because a valid test has to succeed in order to test the invalid ones. If the valid itself is not accepted, what's the point of testing invalid ones? Why would you test that? If a name field is not accepting characters, why would you test numbers, special characters, and other things? No point, right? Does not add any value to your testing. So testing is just not limited to executing some ordinary test cases. It's also dependable on a logic of adding quality into the product. Why would you test 15 test cases or 15 tests which are not related to it? Okay, or does not add any value to quality until unless the valids are accepted. So first, that is where we come with the logical dependency. That is that something which should be done first and then this. So that's where logical dependency will be defined. Okay, so I think Priya, I hope you got the clarity at this point of time. If you still have any concerns, do let me know. Sure, thank you. Okay, the next one comes from Nakula Project. I don't know if some kind of project it is or it's Nakula. So now I'm in doubt why the prospect of QA in tech consultant company or software company, SaaS. What? Okay. The WDYT, I think that's confusing me. What was your question? So now I'm in doubt what the prospect of QA in technical consultant company and software company. I think what I understand from your question, the prospect of a QA is everywhere. No matter you talk about product-based company, service-based company, or cloud-based company, everywhere. So what do you think? Okay, I do not follow so much of shortcut. Okay, sorry about that. But thanks for giving that explanation. What do you think? The prospect of QA in tech consultant companies? Yes, of course. Everywhere. Testers are not going to vanish from the industry, no matter which industry you are in. You could be in which do you prefer? Okay. So I think I would prefer to go with SaaS. The reason is the scenario or the era which you are living in, everything is migrating to clouds. Okay. So be it SaaS, PaaS, or IaaS, which is like platform as a service, software as a service, and infrastructure as a service, everything is trying to move into cloud. Okay. So being a tester, I would rather recommend you to move into the cloud-based testing because that will be the scope and that will be the future of testing, or in fact, the technology altogether. Nothing will be premise-based. It will be all remote. It will be all cloud-based. So cloud is the future because people will say that, why should I? So for example, if I'm planning to start a company today and somebody says that, okay, for example, I have to invest X amount of money to have an infrastructure, host a server to maintain all my data because we only get server instance of different products. And I need to maintain an administrator, which is quite expensive to afford. And he will be taking care of all my customizations and maintenance of the data. But then suddenly somebody comes and tells me that, okay, I can reduce your X amount to something else if I tell you that your products, everything will go into the cloud and you will be into a multi-tenant cloud where you can save a lot of money. You don't have to buy servers. You don't have to space to host the servers, right? You don't have to have a 3,000 square feet of space to have multiple servers instance and a lot many other things, the physical servers. You just have to go to cloud, create an account like Facebook or LinkedIn, and you are all there. So I would say, yes, why not? So I would save a lot of money. So the era is you are in right now, or the future is every single product will move into the cloud instance. You will not prefer to install it in your premises. It can cut your cost and have you the security what you actually need. So I would recommend you to go on the other side of it. Okay, so Nakula says, because I have equal offer from both tech consultant company that make product for client and software company that produces their own product to the market. I think both have, technically speaking, both are quite, energetic, or what should I use there? Like, quite interesting domains. Okay, so you have a great choice, but still, if you ask me, I would say go into the software company, the second option which you've given me, because product-based companies will give you a great exposure and make you work, what you need to really learn from the industry. Okay, so go with that. I think I would recommend you this, and you will have a stable future as well. When you say product-based, at the end of the day, when you grow with your experience, you want to settle down in a product-based company so that you know in and out about the product, and you have a dependency, and they don't just fire you at any point, because an external person will not be able to understand what your system is all about. So the person who has been working with the industry or the company for at least a year, okay, at least 10 years, you will be retained for any cost because you know everything about the product, and they cannot afford a new guy. Again, train them, make them understand. And being a product expert will add a lot of value. So please go with that as per my recommendation. Finally, choice is yours. Okay, Frank. Frank says, hi, Neeraj. Hey, Frank, after a long time. Good to see you. Yes, team, anyone else has any other questions, feel free to drop that. I'm here talking about it. Don't forget to drop a thumbs up if you're happy with the service where I'm trying to answer your questions free of cost on a live session. Zaid says, in Agile Tester, are there any K3 numeric questions like we have in CDFL Chapter 4? No, it's no. Only in Test Analyst or Technical Test Analyst, you'll find the techniques once again. None other certifications will have techniques. Now I can feel that scariness that Zayed is not interested to go with techniques once again. Anyways, meanwhile, I would like to congratulate all those people who have let me know through the comment box also that they got certified recently. There are many people who got certified at the foundation, agile, and advanced level as well. And I want to heartily congratulate them for their success. And thank you for letting us know back, because until once you drop a message, I never come to know what happened to your results. So thank you for taking some time out and dropping a comment so that I can also be happy about my work and dropping a message to me. So congratulations to all of you. I wish you all a very, very, very great success ahead in your future and with all your future endeavors. And a pleasure to serve you once again. If you need any help, just feel free to let me know. All right. So yes, team. Again, we just want to highlight that we are coming up with another session next weekend. So if in case you are interested, currently we have very less nominations. So if in case any one of you are interested in ISTQB Foundation training, it's happening on September 11 and 12. If in case you are interested to be a part of a formal training to understand everything in a two-way communication, so you are free to join this session and let me know if you have any concerns to talk about it. So you'll be having a full day session of 16 hours for the 2 days, and I'll be helping you to understand all the concepts, add value to it by supporting you in order to understand the overall content, help you with a lot more detailed explanation than the videos which we have online. So feel free to click on the link which is in the chat box, and you will be able to enroll for this this training. So this training will comes with a 16 hours full-time course, and I'll be talking about that. So these are only, again, it's not a compulsory and mandatory training for the certification. These are especially for the people who think they need a proper interaction with the instructor in order to understand certain concepts. So feel free to enroll by clicking on this link. It's happening this weekend, September 11 and 12, and the timings will be displayed there. Zayed says, no, sir, I think I like those techniques because of your tricks. That was easy to gain marks. Oh, I'm so sorry, Zayed, misinterpreting you, but yes, certainly I would appreciate that if you love numericals, so you love solving the questions. For me, I think I fall under your side, where I love numerical based questions because it can certainly add a lot of value, because I'm a core guy. I did my graduation in mechanical and we had a lot of numericals. So we continue doing the maths part for a lot of our semesters. So I love numericals. So thanks for giving that clarity. Yasim, anyone else who's looking forward to get their queries resolved? We are busy answering your questions without any cost. So make sure that you feel free to ask your questions and get them clarified. And I'm more than happy to serve you voluntarily to help you understand your concerns and get the clarity for them. We have another question coming in from Sarah. I like those technique question too. Yep, that's really good to see that. And these techniques, see, it's more of like, people, there's two types of crowd. One says that I hate maths just because we had trigonometry and integral calculus. And some people say that, no, I love it because that used to boost my score in the aggregate because of maths. Right? People don't like literature, people don't like language, but they do like maths. So yes, there are different categories. So there are people who love numericals, There are people who don't love numericals. So, you know, that's really amazing to know that there are many fans of numericals here. But yeah, for me also, I fall under that same category where I love numericals. Yes, team, if you got any question, feel free to drop it here. We are, I think, almost half past our time. We have more 35 minutes to go from our live session, but would like to answer as many questions as possible because this live session is for you to get your queries resolved. So I should not be sitting idle here waiting for the questions to come. Feel free to drop whatever you have in your mind, and I'm here only to respond to those questions. And meanwhile, anyways, we are waiting for some questions. So this is my other channel. I don't know if any one of you are new to it, where I talk about other than ISTQB certifications. I talk about a lot of tools, a lot of automation concepts, and really happy to say that we already crossed 1.1 subscribers on that channel as well. And I would be more than happy to serve you from other than ISTQB certification contents. So feel free to be a part of that channel as well and try to grab as much as possible. Frank has a question here. I have to test a page with multiple elements. Does the placement of the element also needs to be tested? I'm being requested to check by pixel coordinates. Isn't that job of a designer? Yes, absolutely correct. There's not a tester who should be responsible to measure the or test the what you basically technically call it as positioning of an item on the page. UI UX stories or design stories are basically created for an architect or designer who should be looking into that. And moreover, I don't find that a design story comes into QA because most of the time the design would be done, but it might not be reflecting on the UI. So design will be already done in the codes and the backends and all, but the front end, the UI, will certainly show up when the element is actually implemented from the UI point of view. So a design story is not being tested by the tester. Yes, it does make sense, Frank. Okay, but when this design story is an integration with a UI object, for example, I have a kind of card on the screen, and the card has different elements on it. But there is a business requirement which has an acceptance criteria, and it says that as a particular user, XYZ user, I should be able to click on this button and jump to this particular page. And the button location is right top corner on the card. Now that's where a tester is responsible to make sure that the positioning is also appropriate as far as it is in the acceptance criteria. If acceptance criteria does not include or does not talk about positioning, the coordinates which relates to your pixel, like what are XY positioning, then none of a QA business to get into that. It's an architect, it's a designer who should be involved in doing that. They should be doing the design part and testing it. Because again, you cannot think from a shoe of the designer, and how can you even validate when you don't have an acceptance criteria, right? Designer knows better that what options look great on a particular page or where. So a tester is clueless until unless it is included in the acceptance criteria. So Frank, coming back to your question, that if you do not have the positioning specified into the acceptance criteria, it should not be done by a QA, and generally it is not done. So please look into that and see if you can get rid of it. You cannot validate, first of all, because you are not a designer. Only a designer can validate a designer story, or maybe a solution architect who knows what looks great on such applications from a domain perspective. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Frank. Yes, team, anyone else looking forward to any more questions, feel free to drop them. We are busy answering your questions here for the next 30 minutes more so that you can get all your clarity what you would need. Don't forget to drop a thumbs up if you're happy with the service which I'm providing you, because I want YouTube to know that there are there are people who are having questions, and here is a platform where you can ask it. I don't think, again, any technical channel is coming online to only answer the questions. So don't forget to drop your thumbs up, only if you're happy. Yasim, waiting for some more questions. Yes, we got it from Isora Miraj. In my job, sometimes I'm asked to test multiple pages with the same template. I'm a manual tester, and each time I go through the same steps, how I'm supposed to come up with new bugs. Update pesticide paradox. Uh, okay, so let's start with this. When you say that you sometimes you are asked to test multiple pages with the same template. Okay, multiple pages. If the pages are exactly the same, because when you say template, I understand that the pages are exactly the same. But if the pages are different, then I don't think you would have a same template. Or there's no need of having a same template if the pages are different, because we have two different principles to answer your questions. Number one, that you have a principle called as pesticide paradox. Repeating the same test again and again, or repeating the same sequence of activities again and again, will not yield you new defects. So you never find new defects, right? Second, uh, when you talk about testing is context dependent, which means that different products are tested differently. So here you can further elaborate it and say that if two different pages are having different design, then it should be tested differently. So if you follow wherever you fit into, your question fits into, just pick up that principle and talk about it. Okay. So if your pages are exactly the same, I don't see a problem with the template. For example, you have name field, you have age field, and this, that, and all, and this is all the replica of it, then I think you are following the right approach. But if two different pages or two pages are different from each other, then you are certainly not following the right approach. You have to have different templates, you have to have a different checklist, you have to have different test cases from the user perspective, from the domain point of view, that how a user will work on it, right? Just feel free to add more if in case I'm getting misdirected to answer your question. Frank says they gave us a PDF of the coordinates, and I see this is a huge drawback with the team. Thanks, Neeraj, and for your service. Yep, sure, you're welcome. Again, I don't understand that, maybe a part of your portfolio, it requires you to do the coordinate test as well. So maybe that's the reason they're asking you to do that. But again, check on that, because coordinates can be definitely measured, and you can certainly do that, but generally not a QA responsibility. The design can do it right there itself when they're designing it. What's the point of testing a design story? I don't get it. It all depends on what exactly it is supposed to be there. For example, I cannot come up with my conditions. If somebody comes up and tell me that, okay, I feel this object should be on the right, and then the designer says that no, as per the industry practices, as per the domain experience, this should be on the left, then why are you testing it, right? So it doesn't make any sense. So it should be designer who decides it, validates it, and signs it off. Finish. Okay, so yep. Sora also says, I got it, thanks, you're welcome. Yes, team, go ahead. If you have got any questions more, feel free to drop that. I'm busy answering questions for all of you, and going to help you for sure to get your questions also answered. Feel free to drop me whatever you have in your mind. I'm more than happy to respond to you. Okay, coming back to the question from Zayed, says, what's the chapter 5 marks for marks division in Agile? Okay, so the Agile is basically consisting of 3 chapters, and the chapter distribution or the question distribution is chapter 1 is 13, chapter 2 is 12, and chapter 3 is 50. I think it does not make any sense because all the three chapters are almost equally distributed. So I don't know how that will add value to your preparation when you know that almost all three chapters have equal weightage. Okay. There's another one coming in from Emmanuel, says, any comments on AI in software testing? Um, AI in software testing. I think yes, you do have scope. There would be possibilities of identification of certain, capture, and there are a lot of things which are done by robotics. And when you talk about automation, certainly the automation can be improved. So, not talking from a manual point of view, when you talk about automation in testing, it will it can have scope. For example, when it comes to testing a kind of visual reality, augmented reality, VR and AR kind of applications, then I think we would need that, where people can be tested with their physical appearance, tested with their presence. So, for example, if I'm talking about a face ID, I'm talking about using your thumb impressions, and that has to be tested with an automation tool. Then that certainly requires you to have AI in place. So we will be looking forward to that tools. And this is not that the tool does not exist. Tomorrow, today, not tomorrow, today, in order to test all those face recognitions, if you go to your gallery and you find a folder or a breakout by people faces, that this person, all the pictures are here. This person, all the pictures are here. Or Facebook is able to identify individuals and tag you, say that isn't this you? Would you like to tag yourself? So that equally has to be tested. So there are some minor, small applications which are doing that job currently in the market, in the product industry. But soon, as everything comes into VR and AR kind of concepts, then you will need a great tool to do that. But again, I'm not sure how far it will impact every single industry. It will just be limited to the industry which deals with that. Okay, but you never know. For example, Teams, Zoom starts doing that, and you have a physical appearance like a kind of Google Glass, right? So that has to be tested, and you may have some automation in place which can do it. But I don't think that would be taking some time. It should not be happening like tomorrow or day after. It would take probably like few years to come up in place. So yes, I see there's a scope for AI in software testing from the automation point of view, but yes, it will take some time to come up into place. So if you have understanding of AI, I would really appreciate your effort on that. Okay. Yes, team. If you have any more questions, feel free to drop them, and don't forget to drop a like if you get your responses before you walk out of this particular session. I know this is what my common trend is. People come here, ask their questions, and they sign out. So before you sign out, if you're happy, just drop your feedback by clicking on the thumbs up button. All right, so yeah, waiting for more questions to come in so that I can respond to them. Okay, we have Erman Spaniard. Okay, I'm not sure how to pronounce it then, but yeah. Emin, what's the difference between sanity and smoke? Very simple difference. Sanity is more of like broader, okay? For example, if I have a module, testing every single component quickly without the test cases is called as sanity, where I just make sure that every object is enabled and working as expected in the terms of not the test cases or deep dive, but yes, I can touch base them. Okay, broader one, where we cover most of the components. Where smoke is a particular important thing in that particular module, and you only test that deeper. Okay, so broader, deeper. So broader means covering everything. Deeper means one place, talking about the core functionality of it. So just a quick simple example. If I get a page which is like sign up, right? So sign up, if I just quickly hit all the buttons, all the fields, I call it as sanity testing. And if I just test the submit button, that whether submit button is working or not, in order to test all the fields, then I call it as smoke testing. So a particular component tested for their specific functionality is smoke. So smoke is deeper and sanity is broader. And you can just conduct any one of these in any scenario. It's not that mandatory to do both of them. You just do one at any point of time. Zad says monitoring app or build release status are also a part of QA. No, it's DevOps. DevOps will take care of that. Or basically the program manager can do that. It depends on the industry. There are different roles dedicated for it. So generally monitoring the app or build release is the subject. So I don't think a QA is responsible for that. We do have a release management team who will be taking care of that. Again, depends on the size of the industry, size of the organization, how you distribute the roles. So you cannot have a kind of genuine answer. That's why I don't like Wikipedia. The only reason I don't like Wikipedia is because people can amend it, people can edit it, and then people say it from their organization perspective. They don't say it from a generic perspective. So these are a few questions where you say that who should be responsible for release, tracking the releases. I said, again, depends on the industry, what kind of organization you're working on, what kind of industry you're working on. There can be a dedicated role for it. There can be a dedicated team for it. And that person will be responsible, but not exactly a QA. QA is not responsible anything other than QA. That means testing and testing perspectives. I'm not, again, being a QA manager, still I've not taken the responsibility of release management till date. Okay, we have another one coming in from Nishantini. Hi, I decided to start my career in testing. Welcome, wise decision. Basically, I'm a chemistry background. How can I start, or any advice for me? How can I pass my ISTQB exam? Coming from a non-technical background, okay, or non-IT background, sorry to say technical, non-IT background requires you to put a lot of effort, okay, because this is completely new for you. For example, just overnight you travel to Germany and you don't know English, you don't know German, then that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? So at least few people talk English, but most of them talk German, right? And you suddenly experience that, what? I come from India and I have Hindi and English and those languages, but probably I cannot communicate here. And the same is the situation right now when you come to software testing. So software testing is a vast domain, and you need to know a lot of things and start afresh for being a software testing person, or a software testing guy. So you would need to do a better deep dive beyond the videos. The videos are crisp. They are created for people who are working in industry already. But I'm not saying that a fresher cannot understand it. But here I mean that someone who is coming from a IT graduation, but you come from a non-IT graduation, then these videos alone will not be sufficient for you. So you would need more of exploration, more of understanding beyond the videos to get the hold of it. Okay? So don't just depend on the comments there, because all these comments are mentioned by people who have taken a formal training on software testing, okay, with all their queries being resolved, and then take up the certification. So don't get misguided by the comments on that. Yes, thank you. Our videos were very helpful. These people had some insights about IT and they really able to make it. But I'm not saying that we didn't have any candidate from non-IT. There were hundreds of people on my channel who were from non-IT and they have succeeded it. So, you can find some wrong online itself, right? So you can do it. And we certainly welcome anyone. Testing is a domain who does not see your background, as far as you have a good understanding of how to test a particular product or application. So what I would recommend you here is go through the tutorials, pick up a tutorial, complete that, and do exploration. Or I would certainly recommend you that go with a formal classroom training with any instructor, including me, and try to understand everything in detail. because videos are literally crisp, and they speak very to the point. So we'll not give you answer for everything what you actually need to know coming from a non-IT background. So go through the videos and then elaborate it. Like, why did he say this? Why did he say that? What is the test basis? What is a test condition? What is a defect? How it is different from error? How it is different from failure? Explore it beyond the videos. Videos will give you the foundation. The exploration will give you the confidence. So that's how your approach should be in order to get started with software testing. And then you will be the one telling me the next that I got certified as well. For sure, I can assure you. Okay, thank you so much, Frank, for dropping me $50. That's really great. I think this is really, a great help. So I appreciate that. That's really, 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 I'm just thankful to you for this. So this is going to go back to that cause which I have the membership for, where I try to, add value to the underprivileged kids back in India here and trying to sponsor them for their education. So thank you for your contribution. Thanks for your donation. I'll certainly take it as a great, great gratitude towards this service which I'm providing. And I'm really more than happy for your input here. Thank you. And Emin says, what are the main points you need to include in your answer when interviewer asks you about your past project? The main points you need to include in your answer is the technical aspects, okay? Because you are being interviewed for that. If you are being interviewed for a particular position, you try to highlight what was your role in that particular project. What did you do as a part of being that project? Did you really contribute something? Did you enhance which was actually existing? And certainly added a lot of things. So we want to always highlight that what we are good at. Why should I be hired in your organization? What renovation, what transformation will I bring to your process and industry if you hire me? So I should not talk about what is the product all about. I should always be talking about what did I do in that project. That answers your question there, Amin, and I hope that's very straightforward and to the point. Nishantini says, thank you so much for giving me the valuable points. You're welcome. Thank you so much. And really, really, it's good to see. I think I have to highlight this, Frank. This is my first, cash transaction, which somebody has done on the chat, on the live session, being happy with my support. And it's just kind of, very, very meaningful for me. And I'm going to take right away a screenshot of this because I always retain all my first things, which I always have. Okay, whatever, it happens for the first time, always frame it, keep it as a memory that this was my first gift, which I got from one of my audience. And that really adds a lot of value. It's kind of memorable for me, Frank. I just can't say thank you, which is not enough for this. It's going to be really remarkable in my journey for sure. It just is more than a simple thank you to you. So anyways, just made a print screen and going back to save it so that I can have it whenever I want to see. So this all gives me inspiration, okay? It's not just a kind of, $50 is kind of nothing, when you do work, but gift, a token of appreciation means a lot to anyone. I know, everyone here understands that I would be making a lot of money for sure. But when somebody does anything like that, it's something which is kind of, a memory for you. And really, you got this, it just happened. And there are people who appreciate you. So yes, this is more than a kind of million dollar, I can say. It's more than $1 million when you, just did this gratitude. And thank you so much for that once again. Okay, Priya says, I'm also from non-IT, no training. No problem, Priya, you're going good. Just ask me all your questions wherever you're stuck. So there's no limitation that I want you to be a part of training if in case you're able to follow. But whenever you get stuck, you think that, no, the videos are not sufficient for me to get all the answers, get into a training, okay? But if you think you are able to follow, you're able to understand, you're able to recreate the things what you're learning, more than enough. And I'm here to assist you. Frank says, for sure, man, you keep doing what you do. This is what the inspirations are, Frank. That's where I feel like, this time, first time in my life, I'm doing a volunteer session over this weekend where I have decided to do a free session for all the reattempt guys. Okay, all those who could not succeed in their first attempt, I'm not charging them a single penny and doing seriously a free session for all of them. So that, again, this is my way of thanking people for being a part of this channel. Okay, sure. Thanks for that appreciation. Sarah says, Raj, last question. There is no last question, first of all, Sarah. As far as you have questions, you're free to reach me. Anyways, do you have test case management tool recommendation? Yes, of course. We always recommend any industry to have a test management tool in place because doing that manually for a large scale project could be hectic. But not for a small scale project. If you're working on simple applications, does not really require some expensive investments or budgets to be done, ignore it. That should be fine. But if you're working in a large scale organization, you're working on a large project which requires multiple people to work on it, test management tool can help you to collaborate and synchronize all the data in one place. But when it comes to what test case management tool, there are many of them. The most recommended are two in the industry right now. One is, of course, your ALM, which belongs to Micro Focus right now. It was earlier called as HPQC. I hope you would have heard of that. So HPQC now turned into ALM and taken over by Micro Focus. So I do have tutorials on that on my other channel, Testing in Nutshell. The second tool is the add-on in Jira. Okay, Jira is not a test management tool. It's a task management tool. And in Jira, you get add-ons called as X-Ray, which will be the test management tool for you. So these are the two great options which currently industries are making use of. There are many other minor tools as well, and it's not limited to that. So feel free if you need anything more to talk about, so you can evaluate what is your budget, what features do you need. It's not that, always go with expensive options. Sometimes a small product, small tool can do the needful, what you really need. So that should be fine. Okay, so these are the two top most recommended option, a HP or Micro Focus ALM, and in Jira you have an add-on called as X-Ray. X-Ray is the test management add-on for Jira to enable test management within Jira. Emmanuel says, is automation possible for a review process, and how can AI improve this automation? First of all, automation is possible to a certain extent for review, not for the work products like the hardcore documentations, but for the code review. You can have code review done automatically whenever check-in happens or whenever you push a code to a particular branch, and there could be a triggered test which can run, for example, unit testing or code review, which will review all the open source code being used or the syntax, the commenting, and a lot many other factors. So yes, you can have the automation for the code review being in place using automation. But when it comes to the second part of your question, how can AI improve this automation? AI will, again, be just limited to that, because AI will be able to detect certain visual things or certain objects if in case utilized. So I don't think from the review point of view, AI will be adding more value. It'll be more from the UI perspective if you're trying to automate. So not from the review point of view. Okay. Frank says, sure. Okay. Luis says, greetings from Argentina. Hola. Thanks for joining in. Yes, team, we are pretty much about to close our call. We have 54 minutes or 55 minutes done from our session. We have 5 more minutes to go from this discussion. If you have any questions, feel free to drop that. Don't forget the thumbs up if you are happy with the service. All I need is that, click on the like button, which will let YouTube know that, yes, there is a session going on where people can come back and ask their questions. So I want more and more people to get the clarity, because currently we do not have a global service which is available to public to get their queries resolved. So I want more and more people to be a part of this live session. And again, we don't have a criteria that you should be a subscriber, you should be kind of, be a part of this channel or member of this channel. No, I have opened the chat for anyone. I do have a setting for my live sessions that allow only subscriber to comment. No, I just put it off, saying that this is not for subscribers. Anyone who has a question can ask me. And being subscriber is not a criteria to get your questions resolved. So feel free, let your colleagues, let your friends, and let anyone know that if they have questions related to testing, they can come and ask me any Saturday between 7 to 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Okay, we got Amin again, how to be an excellent software tester in manual testing. What do you need to master? You need to master the creation of test cases. The test cases are heart of testing. I repeat, test cases are the heart of testing. If you are able to create the proper, efficient test cases, you are master of testing. But if you don't understand a scenario and you cannot land up creating the proper, efficient test cases, then you're not testing the system. You are reviewing the system. You are verifying the system. You're not validating it. So for a tester, you need to be master of when you look at something in front of you, these are the test cases which are required for it, or these are the various scenarios which will be created out of it. So when somebody puts a requirement to you, you already have built up that workaround in your mind that what would be required to validate this efficiently. So test cases are the most important thing. The way you write them, the way you achieve the objective of the test cases which you are writing is something which you need to master to be a manual tester. And in fact, that applies to automation as well. Your script are again limited to repeating some of the activities, minimizing the time required for execution. So yes, manual certainly has a great role in that. Then later the same test cases can be automated. But yes, that's where the masterpiece is required to add more value being a QA. Okay, so yeah, I think I'm just waiting for more questions. We are all caught up with all the questions here. Do we have any more questions? Just feel free to drop them. And again, I just think I want to let you all know that yes, finally Google has put me on the top. I'm really excited, really happy that you people have made it happen. Because of you, I'm now the world's best instructor on ISTQB. No matter which country you are in, if you just try searching for ISTQB Foundation on Google, the very first recommendation, what you would find is my video, and that's all because of you. Also, my second channel, Testing in Nutshell, has gained 1.2 subscribers right now, and I'm really more than happy to serve people beyond the testing concepts which I was covering in ISTQB channel. This is TM Square. I just added more from the tool perspective on my other channel, Testing in Nutshell. So Testing in Nutshell is doing pretty well, and looking forward to add more tutorials there as well to help every individual of you. Before I sign off, there's a message from Lewis. Says, my friend will study for ISTQB Foundation test with the book in Spanish, which is old syllabus. Do you think this is a bad idea? Not at all. That's not a bad idea, but there are a few topics which are added recently, which you can certainly cover from the new syllabus. So the topics are 1.4. Okay, if you're making a note of it quickly, 1.4, then you have 3.2. Okay, then you have 4.3, 4.4, 4.3, both of them, and then you have 5.3. Okay, so there are a few of these topics which are actually modified. There is something new added to these content, so you would not find in the old syllabus. So if you're trying to manage it from an specific old syllabus book which you could have got, please go with that. But don't forget to come back to my tutorial on these topics or cross-verify with my tutorials on the latest syllabus. I don't want you to miss anything, my friend. I want all of you to be updated as per the new syllabus, because when you are putting this effort, the goal is to get certified. And I don't want any individual to fail once you talk to me, right? All the best, Louis. Don't worry. You can always get connected to me every Saturday. I'll help you out wherever you get stuck. So feel free to let me know. Aman, there are too many templates for test cases. I'm not sure what kind of category you need to have in the template. What are the complete features you need to have in a test case template? Generally, you have objective, the test case ID, objective, prerequisite, test data, test steps, expected result, actual result, and status, of course. This is the standard template. You don't need anything beyond this. You will have everything in this, one or the other way cover. Okay. Emmanuel also says, are there existing tools that can generate test cases from a requirement document? And is this an area AI will be beneficial? AI is not required for this, Emmanuel. We already have a tool. We have ALM, which is capable enough to create test cases from requirements. Yes. Anyways, I'm so busy answering the questions. We hit the clock already. Thank you so much, team, for joining in, as I'm answered all the last question till now. So I would like to thank every individual who has joined in this live session, because this live session is incomplete or not at all successful without your questions. So I would like to thank each and every individual who participated in this live session, and I was more than happy responding to them. So thank you, team, for joining in. And as usual, what I say in the last is, that's all from this particular live session, team. Should you have anything else, feel free to comment below. I'm always there to address your queries and answer them well. Till then, keep learning, keep exploring, keep understanding the context. Thanks for being a part of this live session, team, and happy learning. Thanks for joining in, team. Stay safe. We see you next weekend, Saturday, 7 to 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So enjoy your day. Happy weekend. Take care. See you next time. Thank you all. Take care. Bye-bye.